are, now you're listening in.
KITT for easy reference. A KITT if you prefer.
Those of us that grew up in the early 80s remember a trifecta of vehicle-based shows. Dukes of Hazzard, A-Team, and Knight Rider. Knight Rider was a huge influence on my early childhood. It was one of my paramount interests when I was a little boy. It was the story of a man whose face had to be surgically changed after a horrible injury, and then he was given KITT by Knight Industries, and he was told, use the power of this self-driving car, this robotically brilliant car, to fight crime and evil wherever you find it. It was a simple idea, it was almost mythological in its outlook on its plots, but it was admittedly a captivating show for a little kid. And I was no exception. I had two major Knight Rider toys growing up. I had the die-cast car with the turbo booster launcher, it was as big as a Hot Wheels car, and I had the legendary Kenner talking Knight 2000 KITT car with Michael Knight action figure. But oddly, despite the immense popularity of Knight Rider, there were no toy lines that were compatible with other popular scales at the time. Unlike A-Team, that made sure to have a 3 3/4 inch scale line for anybody that wanted to put them with their G.I. Joes or Star Wars figures, Knight Rider merchandise was all about the car, and you can understand why, but it meant that there was no world to build around it. It was the car, and that was it. I guess it's possible that you could get the Michael Knight figure to scale somewhat with the larger A-Team figures, but it was still a stretch. Flash forward all these decades later, and in those intervening years, we may have gotten the occasional Hot Wheels-style die-cast car, maybe even a slightly larger die-cast car, or even a model kit, no pun intended, but we didn't really have action figures. We didn't have a universe to play in, until Playmobil decided to come along. And I can't think of a better company right now that does nostalgia better than Playmobil, because they come at it from the perspective of, yes, this is nostalgic, but it has to work with our entire toy line, which is awesome. They don't compromise on what they want their toy line to be and function like. This Knight Rider car is no different. You know, they knocked it out of the park with Ghostbusters. They knocked it out of the park with the Starship Enterprise. They knocked it out of the park with that crazy bank heist playset for their city theme. And now they've done it again with Knight Rider, and better than anyone ever did it before. First of all, KITT looks amazing. The car looks great. It's arguably the best KITT car in toy form with action figures that's ever been made. Not that there have been many to compare it to, but I would say that this car, minus the size, is superior in every way to the Kenner original. And that's saying a lot because I really like vintage toys, as you know. This car has an amazing level of detail baked into it. We get the flipping license plate. We get an amazing LED front light that replicates the look of the show extremely well. Playmobil went the extra mile to give us the retractable headlights on the bonnet, which were part of the base Pontiac's original design. In somewhat typical Playmobil fashion, the doors don't open on this kit. Instead, the entire roof comes off, which makes getting action figures in and out far less painful. Also, that means unlike the Kenner original, there is no risk to breaking the door hinges off and having a kit with no doors at all. And this also means that for this toy, you can actually use the rear seat of the car and fit 4 figures inside. Inside the car, the dash is completely detailed, as is the steering wheel to the original show, with the entire Knight Industries computerized dashboard intact. Playmobil even made sure to add the detail of KITT's internal fax machine so that Michael Knight can get the latest APBs on bad guys. KITT's lights and sounds are activated by a mere touch of the bonnet, which is amazing. There is no visible button. This is a touch-sensitive system, and it means that the entire chassis and body of this car are not compromised by any extra gizmos. It's frankly ingenious. I have no other way to describe it. It was one of the coolest surprises I had getting this car out of the box. I thought it was going to be like the Kenner one with maybe the license plate being the button or some button underneath the car. No, there is no pressable, clickable anything. It's just touch the bonnet and watch it go.
Microprocessor. KITT for easy reference. KITT if you prefer.
True to the television show, when KITT starts talking, the light on the dash lights up and blinks with his voice, and the voice clips are sampled directly from the show.
Michael, that was no accident.
Touch the bonnet again for 3 to 4 seconds, and KITT will tell you he is shutting down.
KITT signing off.
Unfortunately, the voice and sound effects are my only major gripe with this toy. The volume of this voice is extremely low, and that's odd because on the Star Trek Enterprise, the Ghostbusters, and Back to the Future cars, the volume is far more robust. So I'm not sure what happened here with this design, but I've heard that from other owners as well. This one is not an anomaly. This is common across all of the Playmobil kits. The volume for the voice is it's kind of low. It's there, but it's almost as if it's coming from the cabin to the Michael Knight action figure and not to the world it exists in for a collector. And that's disappointing. But all of those sins are immediately forgiven when you consider that this set also, in grand Playmobil fashion, comes with Bonnie Barstow and Devin Miles. It really seems like the people at Playmobil love these nostalgic properties and try and do right by them. And as a Knight Rider fan all the way back from its original broadcast, I can't believe I'm actually seeing Devin Miles and Bonnie in merchandise form. I never thought I would see them as action figures of any kind. I mean, the original series couldn't even keep Bonnie Barstow on their consistently the entire time. They tried to get rid of her and then had to bring her back due to fan backlash. So seeing her here is a real sense of redemption and justice, I will admit. And it's not just them. It comes with Devin's desk and chair that would have been in his office, with that retro computer and his phone, which I think is so cool. And then Playmobil takes that detail to its characteristic level with Bonnie's maintenance station, with her computer, her toolbox, her camera, her maintenance inspection clipboard to keep KITT running in tip-top shape. And as is charmingly typical for Playmobil, they made sure to provide Bonnie with every possible tool she might need to repair KITT. And I do mean every one. But this wouldn't be a full Knight Rider review without talking about the Michael Knight figure itself. And Playmobil has provided it as much attention as the rest of the set. The Michael Knight figure comes with David Hasselhoff's trademark 80s perm, and his leather jacket is appropriately pop-collared as well. The only odd accessory here is the rear-mounted grappling hook. I haven't really figured out how to attach it. The instructions show how to do it, but I'm not sure I want it hanging off the back of the car, so I haven't actually installed it, which I know normally for a review I would figure that out, but I really don't want it on the car. I don't see myself using it. But the biggest win for Playmobil licensing Knight Rider and making this amazing toy is that now Knight Rider lives in a universe where it can interact with other brands. So for example, Knight Rider can now interact with Back to the Future. It can interact with Ghostbusters. It can interact with the A-Team. It can interact with a DHL delivery van. It's amazing what Playmobil has managed to achieve by selecting these different nostalgia properties that are based around these vehicles. It's really brilliant, and the way Playmobil puts their quality and time and attention into these toys cannot be denied. These are ultimate nostalgia fixes in the best ways possible. And I know there's some people who say, oh, I don't like the way Playmobil figures look. Hey, you know what? That's great. There's no wrong opinion. But I will say that it is your loss because the quality of these toys has consistently blown everything else away in the mass marketplace right now, barring Lego. And Lego and Playmobil, they're sold on the same aisle, but they are not the same animal. I don't want to even try and compare the two. They are both wonderful toys, but they occupy different spaces, and for good reason. And Playmobil, in its space, is hitting it out of the park. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's true. This Knight Rider car is amazing, and it's certainly far cheaper as a vehicle than anything Hasbro is attempting to throw at their customers right now. And per dollar, you get far more mileage for your buck with Playmobil than anything the big toy companies are throwing at us. This is a dream come true for me. As an early 80s kid who was a big Knight Rider fan, this is a dream come true. I'm more than happy with this, and I can't wait to see what Playmobil does next. I really have fallen in love with that company, not just for their nostalgia stuff, but especially for just their sheer ballsiness when it comes to the stuff they want to make. You know, they don't shy away from anything, and they give it that kind of devil-may-care authenticity. And I think what I love the most is that they lure you as a company and a brand into a false sense of security. Like, you look at those smiling faces and, you know, you think, oh, it's like Lego. It's, you know, in that respect. It's a toy for kids. And it is. But Playmobil is also like, the world is a twisted place. And we're going to remind you of that.
Looks like this bank manager won't be going home to his wife and kids.
But we're also going to give you the best nostalgia toys on the market today. What a great mix. What a great company right now. I hope to see Playmobil do a lot more in the coming years. I hope that in the future they will get more brands and they will get more amazing toys like this out to create an entire pop culture universe. I would love to see them eventually get Indiana Jones or Star Wars or Doctor Who, something like that. I would love to see that. I guess you could say I'd really like to see Playmobil activate Turbo Boost.